What's going on, fellow engineers? This video, I'm going to cover the Import Markdown plugin. It is a plugin that allows you to import Markdown files and put those into Post. So here we go. So thank you for checking out my channel. If you have not already, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button down below. So the Import Markdown plugin, as I mentioned, allows you to import Markdown files and create those as posts or pages in WordPress. I previously had my website, which was a static site, written entirely in Markdown. And so instead of manually having to import or each of those Markdown files, like copy paste, I decided, let me see if there's a plugin available that would allow me to do it. The other option was to be able to write a database query that would go and read the files in a directory or something similar to be able to import them into WordPress. However, this plugin exists. It seems to be straightforward to use. So this is my first time using it. So I wanted to record my experience of it as well as my thoughts of the ease of use or difficulty of use with it and configuring it. So let's go to the computer. All right, so I'm on the plugins page. And as you see here, I've already downloaded it into my plugins directory. I've used the WordPress CLI to be able to do that. So now I'm just going to activate it by clicking activate. All right, and so the plugin is now activated. And so on the left navigation, I have the option for the Markdown. And so this page here is pretty straightforward, it seems. So you select a file and do file upload. So I'm going to go to the options to see what's on the option screen before I try to import anything. So you select the post type, which is, in my case, would be post. Required capability is edit posts. The capability required to get access on the import menu. Okay, so this I think believes is related to the access. So depending upon the user role, determines whether you can access this import markdown function or not. All right, so the parse down is the default parser that is selected here. And so this, as I mentioned, determines which parser should be used to perform the conversion. I am not sure what is the differences in the parsers, so that will be interesting to find out. All right, so CB Markdown HTML5. To enable HTML5 output instead of HTML4, this will actually be applied if only if one of the three CB Markdown parsers is used. Okay. All right. So the next one, CB Markdown list start. So it says to keep the number in the ordered list as specified in the Markdown. The default behavior is always to start from 1 and increment by 1, regardless of the number specified in the Markdown. This feature is actually applied only if one of the three CB Markdown parsers is used. So in my list, I always use asterisks instead of numbers. Even if I am doing like numerical items, I just make sure I list them in the proper order. So I'm gonna leave that disabled just in case I wrote something at some point and forgot about it. All right, and then the next one is CB Markdown new lines. And the help information for that is to convert all the new lines to BR tags or break tags. By default, only the new lines with 2 preceding spaces are converted to break tags. This feature is actually applied only if the CB Markdown GitHub parser is used. Okay, so, all right, I'm not sure what parse down is. So we'll start with the CB Markdown, and I want to go ahead and put stuff in HTML5, and I'm going to leave the other 2 options as is. All right, so I've saved those settings, and now I'm going to import a piece of content. And let's see, go into, I have a lot of technology posts. Actually sort this the other way, and we'll import this one, lacing my bootstrap. All right, so that was pretty straightforward. Looks like you only can import one file at a time, which kind of sucks in my opinion. I wish they kind of had it made where you go import multiple files at once. That way, in my case, because I'm importing pretty much an existing website, this is going to take a while to do. All right, so look at the page that it did import and see what it looks like. All right, close that. I'm fully aware about the block editor. All right, so this page looks pretty well. So I'm looking over here on the side. I see it's using the ID that I'm logged in as the author. Probably change that to the actual ID I want to display publicly. The title did not get populated, and probably because of the fact that the title in my posts or in my Markdown files are also at the top as a H1 item, but it doesn't separate those out. So I probably have to manually do this. So cut and paste. All right, and there's supposed to be an image there, which is probably not linked correct. So I'm going to have to correct that, as well as put it in a proper location on the file system. So let me hit edit and see where, looks like it's not trying, or did it try? Yeah, I believe it is trying to pull this image, but because it's not where it's expecting to be, it's throwing the image error icon, which is expected, and that's fine. All right, looks like the rest of the Markdown file did mostly, well, no, we have a problem here. So the CSS, whoa, let's go back. Where was that? All right, so I have some code blocks here that are supposed to show up in their respective languages. And it looks like that's not doing correctly, because I see one of the tick marks here is showing up, and that should not show up. So perhaps it's, instead of accepting 3 tick marks, it only accepts 2 from Markdown files. And do these links actually, let's see. So that link looks correct, and that one does too. So it looks like it did the links correct as well. So I guess the only thing is these code snippets that I have in here, and the images are the things that I have problems with. Let's check some of the other data over here. Lacing up my bootstrap, so the URL slug is fine. Categories, so they got that correct. I'm assuming that may be the default category though, because my default category, I believe I do have it set to technology, so I'll probably have to set that metadata in place. There are no tags in this article, so those would have to be set. Featured image, I would have to add excerpt. I would also have to add, I guess you put like a summary text, maybe the opening paragraph. And the discussion, I don't want to allow pingbacks or tracebacks, or trackbacks, excuse me. And I always leave the comments off. But everything else seemed to be mostly correct. I would probably have to change this publish date to when it was previously published, because that metadata is also not in the Markdown file. It is part of the URL or the file name. So that'll have to be, I have to remember that too. Let's see what's on the block. Okay, that's it. So yeah, for the most part, it looks like it's done correctly. I'll go ahead and publish this and come back and edit this metadata later, because I believe this said February 20th. Put the 20 there. Okay. All right, and go ahead and publish. All right, and so the link is live, so let me go view it on the current site. All right, so that is a problem here with this. Probably because I need to go and remove, because H1 was there, and so it probably still has some remnants there that I'll probably have to go back and remove from the conversion, which is not a big deal. I'm noticing that in my Markdown files, usually I didn't go past the 80 to 100 character column. So the line would not go off the edge of the screen, and I'm noticing those are now put in as line breaks for each of the lines, and so you have some lines that are slightly longer than others. So probably going to have to re-import this and change that setting about the line breaks so that it has to be 2 consecutive lines instead of just 1 line each. But overall, the bulk of the article did import correctly, so I have no complaints in regards to that. That wraps up this video. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about that particular module. It's called Import Markdown. So if you do have existing Markdown files, like for instance, if you have your site hosted on GitHub and using the Jekyll engine or Hugo or Gatsby is another one of those static site generators that uses Markdowns, and you want to convert it to something else, if you're using WordPress, you can use this Import Markdown module. I will probably build an automation because of the number of files that I have that need to be imported. I'll probably build an automation to import those Markdown files, and because I believe I probably have 20 to 30 articles, and that would take some time to import each one. So if I do that, I'll make another video on me creating that automation and actually running it. Last but not least, so you can drop a comment down in the comment section below if you have issues importing your Markdown files. Also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at almostengr. And my website, thealmostengineer.com, will be up and running by the time you see this video. So feel free to go browse, and you can actually see, I'm going to probably have this post up as well corrected, so you can see the corrected version after this, what's happened to it from it being imported. So until the next video, peace out.